Thank you for being invited today. It's kind of strange I can't see you because typically at this point I would be waving at those that I recognize in the audience. So at least I'm doing now virtually to all of you attending. Let me share my screen and let me actually share um, some of the learnings that I have being a founder, company founder for the past 17, 18 years that I'm kind of taking and now applying to be newly an angel investor and working with a variety of venture capital firms as well. So um, actually, I remember this photo I'm going to show you quite quite vividly when it was taken. It was 16th of May 2019, around like 3 a.m. in the morning, and I was in Prague with my business partner Damien on the picture, sitting in the office of our lawyers, and we had 3 hours before the deadline was coming for actually completing the sale of our company. After 3 months of extensive negotiation, after 3 nights of not sleeping at all, being constantly on the phone with our bankers, with our lawyers, with our accountants, and with the counterpart, um, we were almost there, and we just wanted to have it behind. Uh, we were uh, we were building our technology startup for 8 years, and we just knew that we would like to finish this deal. Um, I'm so happy that it actually happened. And today I will not be talking too much about my companies. I will rather quickly introduce just who I am for those that haven't happened to get to know me yet. And I'll try to actually give you some tips and recommendations for you as a business angels and investors, how to work better perhaps, or how to be more efficient as a business angel or VC working with company founders. Sounds good? All right. By the way, the screen sharing is a bit delayed, so I might be talking about some picture you'll see only in a few seconds. So I guess that that makes it more interesting. On the picture you're going to see, you see five really weird people, and the most weirdest guy is in the middle. And yep, it's me when I was 17 years old and I founded my very first company, digital advertising company. And back then we kind of thought that if we're gonna wear dark suits with ties and I'll have a blonde hair, long hair, people will consider me looking more professional, and therefore they will be doing more business with me. Um, Judge yourself if it worked. Um, and actually, it kind of did because we built kind of interesting and well-working, profitable digital advertising business. And after 8 years, we sold it to an independent group of advertising agencies that consequently became part of Publicis Group, the French media conglomerate. And that was my very first exit, although it didn't pay for the for my expenditures for the rest of my life. It was an incredible opportunity for me, an incredible learning opportunity for me to see the whole life cycle of one business. I set up another company, software distribution business, that was profitable for 3 years. And then I made series of really bad mistakes and strategic mistakes. And we had to close the company and paid our debts. My third company was Brand Embassy, a technology startup that with vision to actually help to transform the companies to be more digital and to provide much better care of their customers via digital channels. We built a software that actually hundreds of companies all around the world have happened to use. And we have built this company for, again, 8 years before the right time came for us to sell this business. We sold the business to a NASDAQ listed Israeli American IT company called NICE, which happened to be actually the market leader in the contact center technologies. That actually had a one gap in their product portfolio. I was actually what we were doing for the 8 years. So they actually welcomed the opportunity to integrate our business, integrate our people, and integrate our product and intellectual property into their well-working suite of products with global operations. Throughout the history of Brand Embassy, we have raised over $7 million from 35 angels and 4 venture capital firms from Europe. And by the way, I believe that there is, or I haven't met any European startup that would raise more money from business angels, meaning the number of business angels we were dealing with than us. And working with 35 angels, many people say it's impossible. It had to be, you know, a disaster for us, and it wasn't. It was actually great. Great choice that we made to work with so many great business angels from all around the world. And we have returned the invested money with between 20 and 500% ROI, profitability for our investors, depending when they joined our journey and became our partners. I would like to share with you today some of the learnings that I actually gathered over the past 7-8 years building my last company, and taking it as a recommendations, first of all, for me, me being now in the role of a business angel myself, investor and supporter of other startups, but perhaps you might find some inspiration for yourself as well. My first recommendation is when you're deciding about investments into early stage company, early stage technology company, forget the product. Focus on the founders, focus on the people that are behind the company, get to know them, get to know what drives them, get to know their passions, get to know why they are doing what they're doing. Because the products will change, and ours certainly changed during the history of our company, maybe 3 times or 4 times, almost completely. What never changed were the founders, and without the founders, no success of company will ever happen. I met this guy called Loran Filonenko after 3 years building our business, and I considered him unreachable. He was a CEO of a Cisco. He was a CEO of Avaya and Genesys, the biggest contact center companies in our industry. And I just considered, why would this guy want to talk to me? But then when I was again flying to San Francisco, I just decided to cold mail him. And I was lucky because he responded, he invited me for dinner. And since then we became friends. And more importantly, well, importantly for the business, he also consequently became a business angel investor into our company and great mentor to me. I consider his decision to invest into Brand Embassy as weird, because he knew very well that he is actually behind very powerful companies that can do almost anything on the market. But he actually told me that he invested because of the founders, because of my business partner and myself. And that just draws on the recommendation that I have given you before. It is so important to focus on the founders. Second, when you're deciding about investing into this or that startup, I would recommend to also really analyze the vision of the business, the addressable market of the company, and the recent traction. The vision is very important because you need to understand what really drives the founders. The vision are what the founders believe in at the very beginnings of any company. So it's very important to find out how deeply rooted is this vision in the founders. How long do they have this vision? Have they had this vision 3 or 4 years before they have decided to set up their own company? Why do they have this vision? Why is this vision different than of the other companies that are on the same market? It's so important to have it, and it's so important to share the same vision with them. The addressable market shows you how big might be the opportunity if these guys will do it well. Is this addressable market big enough so it can create $1 billion company? Is it well defined so you really understand how the founders and the first employees will target their customers in their addressable market? Do they understand the addressable market? Do they understand the different segments within the addressable market? Do they understand how to reach these customers? And traction. You can have great founders that are doing, great job in presenting their vision and having great slide deck. But if they will not be able to prove you what they've done over the past 3 months and 6 months that have transformed their business, that have increased from 20 to 100 customers, that have increased from 100 users to 300 users, it can be just a pile of bullshit. So it's so very important to really focus on a recent traction and just ask the question traction, and you will see, what kind of KPIs they will choose, how much revenue orientated they are, how much product orientated they are. You will see that from just hearing their answer to this general question. Number 3, invest only money that you can lose. When I was a founder of Brand Embassy, I was fundraising from different business angels. I was always asking them, how much money are they having actually in their investment portfolio across, all the different financial instruments that they're using for not losing what they have actually, the fortunes that they have built so far, and that they would like to kind of increase with profits in the future. And I was actually making sure that none of the investors that we had on board have invested more than 5% of their total investment portfolio. And I actually preferred if they will invest only between 1 or 2% of what they're investing across all the variety of different investments that they are making. Why? It's not only good for the investors, for you, because you need to be prepared for losing this money, since you're investing into highly risky businesses with high risk. But it's also great for the founders, because if you would invest 50% of your total fortune that you're having, at the time of the first mistake of the company, at the time of the first crisis, you would be knocking on the door every single day, and you would be actually wanting to talk with the CEO every single day. And that's not what the founders need. They need to focus on their business, and they need to focus on solving the problems, not negotiating or ensuring that everything will be fine with their investors. Number 4, invest into your passion. If you want to invest just to get a profit, put your money into private equity, put your money into venture capital. But if you want to invest your own money directly to your startups, follow your passion, because the passion will drive your actions. It will divide the investors that will just give the money to the founders, and then they will be expecting profits in 3, 5, maybe 7 years. And it will, show the investors that where giving the money is just the beginning of a long journey, and they would like to help you. They would like to help the founders. They would like to give them their contacts, their support, and everything. And they will do so only because they enjoy the investment. They enjoy the shared vision. They enjoy what the company is doing. So invest into your passion. Number 5, prove your added value. I'm a strong believer in a concept of early stage startups being financed by business angels. I really believe that business angels can give so much more value than many, not all, of course, institutional investors. But you need to do your job. You need to, prove yourself that you have either contacts, or you have a knowledge, you have expertise, or you have the ability to calm down the founders at the times they need to decide in a good way. You have the abilities to actually mentor the founders if they like to be mentored by you. So prove your added value. Find out from the CEO and founder how you can help them, and try to, take 1 or 3 hours every month to actually spend into supporting this business, or just thinking how you might be better helpful. By the way, every month at Brand Embassy, we were sending a monthly report to our investors. And the report always started by saying kudos to those that helped us in the previous month from our investments, from our investors. And we have asked them for some, specific support. So if you have or already portfolio of investments, try to advise them to do the same. So they will ask you specifically how you can help them next week or in this month. Every year at Brand Embassy, we have actually organized a so-called Partners Day or Investor Day, where we flew in all of our investors into Prague. We had a series of workshops, presentations by the investors, by us, a lot of knowledge sharing. I have invited my team to come to these investor meetings as well. And at the end of the day, it worked great for actually increasing the common motivation and, doing all this together towards the same goal. But it also worked in a great way for actually helping us to get the maximum from our investors, their connections, introductions, further support, maybe sometimes even further money that might help us to invest more into our growth. Number 6, fail forward, which means be prepared for failures. Be prepared for failures of yours, because not all of your investments will prove to be successful. Maybe the majority will not return the money that you put in. But more importantly, be prepared for the failures of the founders that you're supporting. And in a way, be prepared for these times when the founder will call you and say, hey, we're near bankruptcy. We need your support. I need your help. I need your advice. Because these are the moments where I happened to realize where the investors are having the biggest influence over the company. And during the history of Brand Embassy, we were 4 times only days or weeks from bankruptcy. And it was these moments, these days, that I will remember for the rest of my life, when I was calling each and every of our investor. I was updating them about the situation. I was asking them for advice. I was asking them for help. And these were the moments where I have seen how powerful the investors are in actually creating a great impact for startups. I've actually shared a lot of our mistakes and failures during the 8 years of our independent history of a company on my LinkedIn. And I was sharing many of the failures that we have made, and also some of the learnings, not only for the founder community out there, but also for our own investors, because it helped them to understand that we mean it seriously when we say that we will never do the same mistake again. We'll always be making mistakes, but we'll be making always new mistakes. Number 7, be the CEO's best cheerleader. Because maybe it's counterintuitive. Maybe you think that you need to challenge the CEOs every single time, but you don't have to. Sometimes the CEO's job is sometimes pretty lonely job. The CEOs can rarely share all of their troubles in a business with their colleagues in the company. It might scare them off. Sometimes they need to speak with you. And sometimes the best thing that you can do to just say, hey, you're going to make it. Don't worry. I believe in you. These were the words that helped me immensely during some of the toughest times that we've had as an independent company. And I remember those people that have helped me incredibly of being my cheerleader at the times where I needed it the most. One of them is Garrison here on the picture that you're gonna see in like 5 seconds. We hired him as a VP of Global Partnerships. He was based in US, and he was one of the most senior people that I've ever met and ever had a chance to work with. So former CMO and CXO of large mobile operators and large technology companies. He was the one who really understood that sometimes it's the time for giving me an expert advice, but sometimes it's just a time to tell me, hey, we're gonna make it, don't worry. Last but not least, I'm a firm believer that business angels, individual investors, and also institutional investors have a responsibility to invest into stuff that matters, and have a responsibility to invest into stuff that will actually advance the humanity and that will advance the environment that we're having around ourselves. And look at the world today. It's kind of weird, right? So much weird stuff is happening. So over the past 6 months, I've spent nights and weekends with a few of my friends actually analyzing how angel investors and VCs can help solve the 21st century grand challenges. from healthcare, education, fake news, threats about coming from artificial intelligence. There is so much problems. It's not just about COVID. It's about so many different problems we are having around ourselves. And startups, technology startups, scalable technologies can be a beautiful way how to solve many of these problems. And angel investors are actually those that, when investing with passion and investing into the right companies at the right time, can actually trigger this big change. So if you're interested to learn more, if you're interested how to actually support startups that work on solving some of the 21st century grand challenges, just go to the link that I posted there, tiny.cc/purpose driven, and you're going to see our 4-part report that talks about startups versus the challenges of the 21st century and how you can be helpful as a business angels and VCs in this whole journey.